What up? It's your boy T-Bear and her reaction. Today's wrestling reactions. You're about to check this video from WrestleMania. 10 wrestlers WWE instantly regretted firing. Sometimes you just gotta be patient. Sometimes you gotta let the wrestler find their potential. Because you fire them too soon, you're gonna end up regretting it. Or maybe, just maybe, it just wasn't made for the company that, for your promotion, the way you book them, and somebody booked them better. Either way, we're looking at the ones who were unfairly or possibly fairly fired from WWE, but ended up doing way better in other companies. The top one I can think of is Tony Storm, because she's been killing this timeless Tony gimmick she's going for a good while. As of Hell, she for stars of Hell and was getting over fed and well deservedly became a great face character now. So yeah, other than that, without further ado, let's check this out. I'm holding off on one of Ross because some of these things I get from Kicking Raw show, Kicking Raw store, man. He always bringing he always do some good reactions, some good wrestling videos as well too, and some of them are one of them though. Oh, this is a great reaction on Generation. Well, I'm gonna check that out another time. Other than that, let's check these out. Let's get it. Oh, gotta put the thing on.
10 wrestlers WWE instantly regretted firing. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 10, Daniel Bryan. At the debut of the Nexus faction on WWE.
Well, I guess it depends. Only because if they go with this one, then in a way it was kind of regretful. Glad they brought him back. But yeah, if you know the story, you know the full story. But I'll let you know. Hold up. If you know the full story, they'll tell you right here. But let's go.
WWE television was impactful, memorable, and borderline legendary. It was a TV-14 angle delivered in the world of PG. And unfortunately, this is where the problems began. Due to Daniel Bryan choking out Justin Roberts with his own tie, this wasn't seen in line with WWE's...
Now folks finally understand what I mean by that with the Daniel Bryan, because I mentioned that on plenty of these videos talking about Daniel Bryan joining against the WWE and all that.
Established PG guidelines. And it was reported that numerous political players and sponsors complained directly to WWE.
The casualty of... Yes, Daniel Bryan was casualty of the PG era at one point. Briefly.
WWE would reluctantly let Bryan go from his contract, and it was widely reported that this was something that they simply just didn't want to do. Exactly. It was only fitting that when the backlash died down, WWE would bring Bryan back into the mix, and they didn't hesitate to do this within a few short months. Bryan would make his return at the 2010 SummerSlam pay-per-view in the main event of the show, and Bryan would go on to become one of the top names in the company, winning the world title on numerous occasions. Number 9, Finlay. Now, it could often be the case that WWE rushes into firing a talent or a producer, and this was a case with Finlay. Finlay was the producer for a live event on the road to WrestleMania 27, and Finlay would order The Miz to interrupt the national anthem. Unfortunately for WWE and Finlay, members of the National Guard were in attendance and they were extremely offended. The blame fell on Finlay, who was punished in the most severe way possible as he was released from his WWE contract. The backlash to this internally in WWE was one of uproar, as Finlay was beloved within the locker room, and even names such as Jim Ross would criticize the move publicly. It was almost instantaneously that WWE realized that they got it completely wrong, and that Finlay shouldn't have been fired. Finlay would be brought back into the company the following year with open arms, and thankfully there was no bad blood on either side. Number 8, Bronson Reed. One of Triple H's pet projects when he was running NXT was Bronson Reed. Reed would become NXT North American champion, and on paper, he had every tool it took to be a major player on the roster. Sadly, when Reed had his official main roster tryout, Vince McMahon hated his work. McMahon hated his work so much that Reed would be fired from the company. This must have enraged Triple H, as he had put so much effort into getting Reed over, and now it was all ruined. When Triple H received creative power on the main roster, one of his first official acts was to bring Reed back. Reed has been outstanding since his return, and he has truly stepped up and delivered at the level that Triple H believed he could all those years ago. Number 7,
Oh
Tony
yeah.
Storm.
Well,
Tony Storm.
well, again, it's probably somebody more established into his store is higher, but y'all definitely, like I said, the Thomas thing been pretty good. And, like I say, the star is a heel, and now she's a face. It's been a good gimmick, regardless. But yes,
Has emerged as one of the top stars in AEW, and her character work received critical acclaim and
Yes, it did.
appreciation, even from AEW's biggest haters. Storm was under a WWE contract for several years, yet all WWE did with her
Yeah.
on the main roster was book her in horrendously delivered
Yeah.
comedic segments, which in turn made her look like an utter fool. But when Storm asked for her release, it was immediately granted by WWE. This was a case of WWE not knowing what they had
Exactly.
until it was gone. Storm would reflect on why she exited the company during an appearance on Oral Sessions, and Storm didn't exactly hold back. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. A lot of people don't enjoy it at all. For some people, it just works out, and for others, it just makes them miserable. And I guess I just fell into that category. I guess it just wasn't for me at that point. Let's
Yeah.
face it, they just fire people left, right, and center out of the blue. I could be fired next week, and then it's like, what's the point? It just got very pointless, to be honest. It's been hard to convey that, especially
Yeah.
to fans, especially to the people that just aren't in the business, and they'll never understand. I must sound ridiculous to those people, but it's the reality of what it's actually like.
Hey, she got a point. Well, here's the funny thing. What if she come back with a character on WWE? We think they would let it happen, let it rock? Who knows? I mean, Tony could be a good little person between her and I possibly even Shane Name would be good people to come back after battling themselves. May have done it. Right now, look at our current champion Cody, bet on himself, and now he's one of the top champions right now and top faces in WWE right now.
WWE, without a doubt, would re-sign Storm within seconds if she decided to leave AEW. And Storm is a great example of why sometimes
Hey.
it's always a good idea to bet on yourself. Number 6, Mickie James. WWE may not have outright rejected firing Mickie James in 2021, but the way they handled her release would have
Yeah.
certainly led to a lot of
The
regret and
trash bag-
anger
the
within the
trash
company.
bag thing was
James was
bullshit.
released from WWE due to budget cuts relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. And James took to social media to share that WWE had sent her belongings back to her in a
Yeah.
trash bag.
That was
That's right,
ridiculous.
a trash bag. It showed the world that WWE really didn't care about their talent, and the incident
Exactly.
received mainstream news coverage. It was a truly horrendous look for WWE, and they knew they'd just made a huge mistake. But WWE did take immediate action, and this is what James had to say during an interview with Ariel Helwani. Personally, I wasn't as offended as the rest of the world was offended, just because I feel like it does suck and it's very, the symbology of it all. Even when you think about it professionally or however you feel personally, how you've been professionally booked or any of those things, all of those things aside, like that bit alone is kind of like already on a low. James will go on to state that she received calls from Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Vince McMahon, and the WWE were quick to confirm that the name responsible, reportedly being Mark Carrano, was no
Yup.
longer employed with the
Yup.
company. Number 5, Aleister Black.
Well, yeah, but it looks like he's coming back.
NXT champion Aleister Black was yet another name released from WWE due to the COVID-19 budget cuts. This release was baffling, as Black had just
Yes,
returned to WWE
exactly.
programming with a new character, and they were already giving up on him. A matter of hours after Black's release was made official, it was reported that numerous companies, including AEW, wanted to sign him up, and overnight, Black became the biggest free agent in all of wrestling. Triple H must have been devastated, as Black was one of his top stars in NXT, and now Vince McMahon was releasing him without a care in the world. It was reported for years after the initial release that WWE
It
would...
was funny about it. They made a meme about this when they got their little hug before they went to my roster. It was like, Daddy, I want to go. It was a meme saying that. Because they knew what Vince would do them dirty, and they kind of did. Well, not definitely Alistair, but Ricochet not as much, but kind of in a way.
want Black back if he ever left AEW, and fast forward to 2025, this is now on the horizon as Black is set to make his grand return to WWE
Yep.
programming. Number 4, AJ Styles. AJ Styles was working in the final years of WCW without an
Yep.
official contract, and when WWE came calling, they knew AJ was immensely talented, but all they offered him was a developmental deal with OVW. WWE had the chance to sign one of the biggest names of the 21st century to the main roster, yet they cut ties with him completely. AJ would eventually sign for TNA, where he would become their poster boy for the next decade, and AJ would cement himself as one of the biggest names in the world that wasn't signed to
This is
WWE.
why I should
When he
have
would
been
finally
here
put pen to
in the
paper for
first place.
WWE at long last in
Right.
2016, the buzz was palpable. Now, there was initial concern at first that they wouldn't know how to use AJ. Whilst it was a rocky road at first, AJ has had a Hall of Fame
Yes, he
career in
has.
WWE alone. Number 3, Bray Wyatt. One of the COVID-19 related releases that received significant criticism from fans was that of Bray Wyatt. Wyatt was reportedly let go to...
It's so crazy about it. It seemed like they could not get it right with Bray. I don't know why. And then even before he passed, it's almost like they was about to fail again. I feel like he could have revived himself if he didn't pass. But it almost like they almost couldn't do it because that little blackout, fade to black match, I mean, granted, it was okay, but at the same time, a lot of people was feeling that. So it felt like they could not get it right with Bray. I don't know what, no matter what it was. It just, he put his heart out into his wrestling, really, and they could not get it right. And sadly, it takes him passing for him to really get something right. And it, almost like David again with the Y6 right now. Because they've been moving SmackDown, but we haven't seen them in a while, though. So let's hope that's not the case. Or, I mean, I did hear the part of the reason is because Bo Dallas, a.k.a. Okahawa, is recovering from injury right now. So understandable. But still, like, I don't know what kids that they cannot get right with this or with him as well as the Y6, though.
to his high salary, as well as WWE being in a creative rut with him. It was said that Vince McMahon often had issues with the former WWE champion, so it ultimately was a no-brainer for WWE to let him go. But Wyatt was one of the most creative minds WWE had ever had under contract, and it was backwards at how they were just willing to let him go without a second thought. The fan backlash was rampant, and fans were actively campaigning for WWE to bring him back. And this must have been the exact moment when WWE had just realized how popular Wyatt was with the audience. McMahon, to the surprise of many, wouldn't opt to bring Wyatt back. Instead, it was Triple H, who was a long-term supporter of Wyatt, and he insisted that Wyatt return to the company in 2022. Number 2, Matt Hardy. In 2005, Matt Hardy's world would be shattered when he found out that Alita was having a real-life affair with fellow colleague Edge. Hardy, upon finding out this information, would take to the internet to share his side of the story, and in typical WWE fashion, they found this to be unprofessional, and they released him from his WWE contract. To say this angered WWE fans would be an understatement, especially because Alita and Edge were receiving pushes on TV, yet the man that was wronged was now unemployed. Firing Hardy instead of offering him support was a terrible PR move for WWE, and media outlets across the world would pick up the story. Hardy was supported both online as well as at live shows, as chants in support of him were delivered on Raw, SmackDown, and live events. The reaction was so severe that WWE were forced to bring him back, and this rehiring should have come with a formal apology and an acknowledgement of WWE's mistake. And number 1, CM Punk. There was a ton of discourse in late 2014 where the WWE would sink as low to fire a man on his wedding day, and the majority of fans were under the impression that WWE without a doubt acted with malice when it came to the firing of CM Punk. Punk walked out of WWE following the 2014 Royal Rumble, but he wasn't released from his contract until the end of the calendar year. WWE, for whatever reason, waited to fire him on his actual wedding day, and with Punk still having friends in WWE and his wedding date being common knowledge, all the signs pointed to this being deliberate. What WWE wouldn't have expected was for Punk to tell the world what they had done, and this would have been a moment that WWE knew they had messed up on. Their story was so newsworthy at the time that McMahon directly addressed it on a live podcast, and McMahon would apologize to Punk and claim that this was not deliberate, which fans had a tough time in believing. But there you have it, folks.
There you have it, though. There you have it. 10 wrestlers that he instantly regretted firing, though. And let's say out of all of them, except for maybe a couple, majority of them got brought back. The only one I guess that did not get brought back out of these was Toni Storm, of course, but she's definitely welcome with arms, you know. Everybody else has come, and Alistair is coming back, and everybody else is like already back as well too. Of course, Bray did come back, but what happened with that? And Matt, to say, well, Matt did come back, just he's not there no more now. Anyway, but other than that, this was a good video. So If you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.